You probably haven't actively thought about this, but teddy bears are everywhere you look. They're one of the world's most popular children's toys, and parents spend millions of dollars every year to buy these stuffed animal toys for their kids. But teddy bears are not just for kids, because adults also spend millions of dollars every year buying teddy bears, often as romantic gifts for marriage proposals, for Valentine's Day, and also on birthdays as well. In fact, there's a movie in which the lead character is a teddy bear.
Do you consider yourself to be human?
Objection. Sustained.
No, the witness can't object.
Overruled.
Sidebar.
Guilty.
Speculation.
Hearsay.
Bailiff.
Briefcase.
Disregard.
In my chamber.
Stop Beaver on the witness.
Arrest.
We could totally be lawyers.
But beyond romance and Hollywood movies, teddy bears are also a global symbol of love and compassion. For instance, every year, thousands of teddy bears are donated to children around the world who have either suffered tragedies or simply can't afford the toys.
Thanks to community donations, hundreds of teddy bears are going to patients at UVA Children's Hospital.
Today, first responders in Rio Rancho got a special donation to help them help kids. St. Felix Pantry, a local food bank, and PetSmart gathered hundreds of stuffed animals and donated them to the 7 fire stations spread across the city.
Hundreds of teddy bears will now be riding along with deputies in Manatee County. The Tiny Hands Foundation donated more than 600 bears to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. The purpose is for deputies who encounter scared children to be able to give them something to comfort them.
Now, it's safe to say that our entire perception of teddy bears is wrapped in this wholesome bubble of love, romance, compassion, and goodwill. But as cute as teddy bears might be, as much as we might love them, and as much as they might be the world's favorite stuffed animal toy, the truth is the origins of the teddy bear actually come from very terrible events involving a former US president, a hunting trip, and a real-life bear. Americans like to hunt. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what does hunting have to do with teddy bears? But I promise we'll get there. So again, Americans like to hunt. And back in November of 1902, the #1 American in the country, President Theodore Roosevelt, went on a hunting trip in Mississippi with the then governor of the state, a man called Andrew Longino. But after 3 days in the woods of Mississippi, it turned out that almost everyone in the hunting party on this trip had killed an animal. But you know who hadn't? Theodore Roosevelt, the President of the United States. Now, I imagine the people around the president wanted to keep him happy rather than have him feeling like he was wasting his precious time on this hunting trip. And so the president's attendants came up with a plan that they thought was brilliant. They were going to help the president kill a bear. Now, the actual details of this plan were pretty simple. Track a bear, corner it, wound it, tie it up, and then have the president do the easy job of killing the bear and, of course, taking all the credit. They would do all of the hard work, but technically, it would be the president who got credited with killing the bear. And so they got to work trying to find a bear for President Roosevelt to kill. And after searching for a while, they found one and then implemented their plan. Because according to reports, they found an American black bear, cornered it with hunting dogs, and then left it badly wounded, but still alive. Now, even though they had good intentions, this was a pretty cruel plan because this was basically torture for the bear. They had captured it, they had badly wounded it, and then they left it alive and in pain. But this was their plan, and the first phase of their plan was complete. All that needed to happen at this point was for President Roosevelt to show up and kill the bear, and of course, take all the credit. Or so they thought. President Roosevelt showed up but refused to shoot the bear because he thought it wasn't sportsmanlike to kill a badly wounded bear that had been tortured just for his benefit, and then take the credit for the kill. It was essentially like staging a successful hunt, and the president wanted no part of it. Now, according to reports, he said, "I've hunted game all over America, and I'm proud to be a hunter, but I couldn't be proud of myself if I shot an old, tired, worn-out bear that was tied to a tree." Basically, the president thought it was cruel to kill the bear this way. So he ordered his assistants to kill the bear themselves, mainly to end its suffering, but of course, didn't want to take any credit for that killing. And of course, that was supposed to be that. But then the news of the incident got out to the press, and on November 16, 1902, Clifford Berryman, a cartoonist with the Washington Post, published a cartoon that depicted President Roosevelt refusing to kill the wounded bear. And just like that, the incident became national news in the US. Now, for the most part, the president was giving a lot of credit for refusing to kill a bear that had been badly wounded and staged for him to take full credit for. But the news also traveled far and wide, and it inspired a couple in New York, Morris and Rose Mitchum, to make something out of that whole situation. You see, the Mitchums owned a candy store for kids in Brooklyn, and they were inspired to make a stuffed bear toy based on the story of President Roosevelt's hunting trip. And so they went ahead and made this one stuffed bear toy for their own kids. But they took it one step further because they put it on display in their candy shop in Brooklyn, New York. And according to reports, that one stuffed bear became very popular with several parents who all tried to buy it for their own kids. Now, at this point, it was clear there was demand, but the Mitchums had two problems. First, the Mitchums needed to make a lot more of the stuffed bear toys if they wanted to be successful selling them, because remember, they had only made one. And the second problem was that they also needed a name for the stuffed bear toy as well. Now, since the toy had been inspired by the incident during President Roosevelt's hunting trip, they decided to name the stuffed bear toy Teddy's Bear, after President Roosevelt's first name, which of course was Theodore. But here's the part a lot of people don't know. They actually had the president's blessing to do this, because before they started selling all of these toys, Morris Mitchum took the step of writing to the president to ask his permission to officially name the toy Teddy's Bear. And apparently President Roosevelt agreed to lend his name to this new invention and even went as far as adopting the teddy bear toy as a mascot during the 1904 presidential election. The adoption of the teddy bear name kicked off incredible success for Rose and Morris Mitchum, because the demand of the teddy bear toy was such that they ended up leaving and shutting down their candy store business, creating an entirely new company just for making children's toys. They called it the Ideal Toy Company, and it didn't end there. By 1945, the company's toys, including the teddy bear, were so popular during the post-World War II baby boom that the company was selling their toys outside of the US in Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and also in Brazil. By 1968, the Ideal Toy Company was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and by 1982, the Ideal Toy Company was sold for an incredible $58 million. And just 2 years later, signaling just how important teddy bears had become, the world's first ever teddy bear museum was opened in England. Now today, the teddy bear toy has been firmly established as the world's favorite stuffed animal toy, and it continues to sell millions of units every year. So the next time you buy a teddy bear as a gift for a loved one, remember, the inspiration for that toy goes all the way back to the woods of Mississippi back in 1902, when former US President Theodore Roosevelt refused to kill a tortured bear. Thanks for watching, but don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this, then make sure you check out this cool playlist of other History Explainer videos on my channel, like the historical but eco-friendly way to pay tribute to William Shakespeare using nothing but plants. See you in the next one.